Welcome back to Dark Corners Streaming. The only feature credit of director Herc Harvey, a maker of industrial and educational short films, Carnival of Souls was barely noticed on its release, but has since become a cult touchstone. This is partly because, like George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, it is an example of what you can achieve with a very low budget. But it's also important to recognise that the film needs no excuses. This is a good film regardless of budget. Mary Henry, played by Candice Hilligos, is the only survivor of a car accident. She leaves town shortly after, but something seems to accompany her. Trying to start a new life as a church organist, which incidentally is reflected in the brilliant score of Gene Moore, she finds herself pursued and drawn to the abandoned carnival pavilion at the edge of town. The Saltaire Pavilion gave Harvey the idea for the story, and the film makes effective use of the place's natural atmosphere, while not overusing the location, keeping it as something distant, a ghostly presence in itself, hovering at the edge of Mary's fraying psyche. That said, it is events away from the pavilion itself that are most traumatizing for her.
I did say I'd take it.
I think when looking at Carnival of Souls, the tendency is to focus on its atmosphere and the horror aspects. Incidentally, this recurring figure is played by Herc Harvey himself. What I think actually raises Carnival of Souls above other low-budget horrors is that while these elements are important, it never loses sight of their effect on Mary.
I don't want to be left alone!
It's her story, and the film takes the time for her normal life as well, which has problems of its own. It's not about the haunting of a young woman, it's about a young woman who is also being haunted.
You cannot live in isolation from the human race.
And there is more to Mary's character than simple horror film victim.
You don't like for a man to hold you close, that's it, isn't it?
I didn't say that.
You haven't said anything all evening.
Aspects of that character that may inform what is happening to her.
I have no desire for the close company of
And
other
which suggests
people.
the film as a metaphor for feelings that manifest in all of us from time to time, of not belonging, not being part of a world in which you feel trapped.
As though for a time I didn't exist. As though I had no place in the world. No part of the life around me.
It's not uncommon for low-budget horror to have big conceptual ambitions, but it's relatively rare for them to pull them off with such a light touch, backed up by such evocative imagery. What's also unusual is for these supernatural shenanigans to be tied up in a lucid ending, rather than allowing open-ended strangeness to be its own explanation. Budget does affect it, particularly in the sound.
We were the first ones on the bridge, and coming along...
The opening drag race is not as wild as it wants to be, and both dialogue and performances can be stilted.
Oh, what's the matter with everyone? Why don't they answer me?
But those are minor issues in a chillingly effective film. You can find it on YouTube, Filmbox, or there is a ghastly colorized version on Amazon Prime. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts on Carnival of Souls in the comments below.